got a couple notes here I'm going to go through on stuff like this, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm really excited about being here, and I love to listen to some of your stories. I listen more to your stories maybe than you listen to mine, because I feel that when I go back, I have to take a message that baseball is alive in Europe. I think it's important that MLB gets involved in you guys. If it's important that you get people like myself and Steve and Mike and especially Jim, all the coaches that are here to come out and to help you with your coaching and stuff like that, let them know. Let them know, and we'll do what we have to do to come out here and support you, okay? Now, I don't want to hear somebody say, well, you know, it's not all that bad. But listen, we have to remember that the young kids, it's the foundation of what's going on. All your big elite programs that you have, all the things are great. But what's going to happen when the well dries below? You're not going to have anything. You've got to have a flow. Now, in America, we're very fortunate. We have Little League. We've got travel teams. We got middle school. We got high school. We got junior colleges. We got colleges. We got minor leagues. We got rookie leagues, A-ball, high A, low A, and we got major leagues. We got a lot of steps for those guys to get there. So when you have a dream, you can fulfill your dream because you have somewhere to go. And these kids don't have, that's the trouble with China. They have a middle school. They have 1.4 billion people over there. That's a lot of people. 1.4 billion people. And they just had a school they just started. And they got 12 kids. 12 kids graduated from that school. And that's it. They don't have any place to go. And then Yao comes along, and they have 300 million kids, 300 million playing basketball. I mean, those 300 million kids are going to be what? They're going to be basketball fans when they get a little older, right? And what sport is their sons going to play? Basketball. Get the idea? So anyway, they have to understand that in order for them to take it to the next level, or any sport, here's what they do in China. They fund, they give the money or resources to the team, to the sport that gives them a chance to win medals. Baseball, you get one medal. You win, you get a medal. But track and field's got 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 600 meters hurdles. They got 40 events. So they push all the athletes in there. They push the athletes in there, and they push the money in there. And that's just the men. The women's got another 40 events. Then they got gymnastics. Then they go to water sports. Then they go to rowing, because rowing has 12 to 15 events. You see what I mean? The more events you have, the more opportunities for them to win. And so then it comes down to what we call team sports. That's where baseball is. They're going to give it to basketball because they've done well at basketball. They're going to give it to team handball because they've done very well. You got the idea? And here we are sitting on the bottom, and we're getting all these rejects from different sports. And what do? We go to the Olympic Games only because we were the host country. That's the only reason why we got there. But we won a game. So they have ways to go. Now, you've got that already going here. And it would be a sad day when you let this thing slip away. Because when it wants to slip away. So I really appreciate these clinics. I appreciate the opportunities. And by the way, you did a good job. And I want to bring in, Chris, what you did is a good job. And for me, I want you to have this right here. This is my present to you, but you must use it. Okay, so you asked me if you want to buy it. What do you want to buy? He's done a great job. I was going to show the girl with the huge bat where I hit one off his head, but I missed once, and I'm not going to try it on you. But it's the stuff that he's doing, holding these clinics, and what he does when he leaves, and his training is really appreciated. Good one. And we appreciate that because we have a tendency to always work with the high-end guys. Hey, listen, 3% of the players, kids in America who play Little League go on to high school. 1% goes to college. Of that, only less than 1% signs a professional contract in the minor leagues. Of those guys, 95% of those kids will not see one pitch in the big leagues. So that's a pretty tough thing to do, you know what I mean? And again, Major Leagues is not about Americans. about the world. So you guys fit in. Okay, everybody fits in. If you can throw hard enough, you can play hard enough, you can do certain things, you play. You know, we draw from the world. You know, when I played in Japan, they're called gaijins. Gaijins is a foreign player. We're only allowed 2 players per team. You know what I mean? And over there, I kept saying the Japanese would go, "Oh, we need to make our sport better." And I said, "Well," they said, "How do you do that?" And I said, "Well, the way you do that, you bring in more foreigners." We cannot do that. You know, it is like, and so they have their own way of doing things. You know, I mean, they're closed minds. When I was over in Japan, you know, I was brought over there. I was brought over there to hit the ball in the ballpark. That was my job. I wanted to go over there and hit the ball in the ballpark. So when they have taken batting practice, and I'm just having a day, you know, and I'm just feeling really good, and I'm just pounding balls, and I'm hitting balls out of sight. It's one of those days, you know, and they walk up and say, "Oh, Lefebvre-san, you have a nice power." A nice power. And I said, "Well, thanks." He said, "Where do you get such power?" I said, "Well, you got to get your hands back. You got to create leverage to the ball. You guys hit like this." Here says, "Do you want to try it?" "Oh, no, we cannot do that." "Why?" "Because we have no power." I said, "Well, try it. He may have some power." No, we can't do that. They're not. They have one way. They all have the same way, but you know they're afraid to get it back. Show me how Manny Ramirez hits. Show me how all the guys that we have. Try it. See if you can hit the ball hard, and that's the only way you get better. You know what I mean? Just try it. So anyway, I think it's really important that we're all coaches. We are. We all want to get better, and how we get better is through our players. And I appreciate everybody coming here. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about coaching, some coaching things that I really believe on. The first day we talked about the importance of developing a program. We talked about a little bit about ball flight. We talked about hitting lanes. We talked about the importance of strategy. Okay, John? This importance of strategy. And he asked me, if you bunt every inning, aren't you just going to score 1 run? It's the numbers. When you score in 3 innings, for some reason it works right about 5.5 runs. That's the way it is. You score in 4 innings, it's about 7 runs. It's just the number crunch, okay? So you have to feel that there's times to bunt and there's times not to bunt. So he knows where I'm coming from. And I think that that's the thing that you guys as coaches that you have to understand your own personnel. You have to understand your own players. You have to understand what I can do, where I am in my lineup, when do I have to do it. If I'm scoring in 2 to 3 innings, I'm going to probably have about a 3-4 run lead. Then you go for the big inning. And if I'm going through my lineup for the first time, and I'm going through that, leadoff guy, now this is something that the Japanese do a lot. They bunt a lot in the first inning. I don't do that. I'm setting myself up to have a big inning. I want to score as much or more runs, and that team does the entire game in 1 inning. So I'll set myself up that way. But when there's times, usually it's very simple. The first 3 innings, most big league teams play for the big inning. And if nothing's happened, the second 3 innings, they'll mix in a hit and run. You know what I mean? They'll start to throw some steals in there. And then the third and the last 3, 7, 8, 9, now they play for 1 run. That's when you start bunting and giving up outs to get innings. The year that the St. Louis Cardinals broke the record for the most stolen bases by a team the entire year, finished last in runs scored for the whole year. 1 year, the Dodgers and the Giants both led the league in bunts, getting players over. They both finished last in both leagues in runs scored. When you give up an out, you're giving it up one more out to have a big inning. Now, I'm not saying we don't bunt, but you know what I mean? There's times when you do bunt, and there's times that you don't bunt. That's a feel thing. That's something you got to believe in your own team and stuff like that, okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. I remember when when I played, we played against the Big Red Machine. I don't know if you guys ever remember the Big Red Machine. They had those big players. And so they talked to Johnny Bench one time, and they said, "Johnny, you pull everything. Why do you pull everything?" He says, "Can you go the other way?" He said, "Yeah, I can go the other way, but I don't like to." He says, "Pete Rose, he wants to get on base and score 100 runs. And I want to drive him in 100 runs." So you see, each guy had a different role on that team. One guy was to get on, one guy to drive him in. And that's what it's all about. So, that's a field thing, it's a talent thing, and every manager deals with it. The Yankees, they don't bunt, because look at that payroll. Look at that team they have. Just let them play. There's times that you need to do little things. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to make sure that we had an understanding on this thing. But it's very important that we understand that we have to build from the bottom up. Traits of good hitters. I call it traits of good hitters. In your notes. All my programs are built around these traits. This is the program. This is my coaching philosophy. This is my program. Number one trait of great hitters, the Sammy Sosas, the Mark McGuires, the Ken Griffey Jr.'s, the Edgar Martinez's, all the guys that I've been involved with as they were competitors. They love to get out there in the field. They love to compete. And when a game was on the line and everything was all there, they wanted to be the guy up there. They just have it. It's like somebody says, they're just wired different. They just thrive on them. And we all wish we had a whole group of these guys. And that's the truth. And so competitors are what you want. The competitors are the guys that just dream about 2 outs at the bottom of the ninth in the World Series. They play it when they're kids. They play it in the street every day. I'm going to get the hit to win the World Series. And then when they come up to do it, they've been there before. I remember one story that was Don Sutton. The Dodgers got out to a real big lead with Cincinnati. They jumped into a 15-game lead real fast. Lasorda was the first year he managed. They jumped out in front of the big red machine, and Sparky Anderson said, "We play for the finish, not the start." That's a bunch of baloney. We all play for a good start. But the Dodgers got out there in front. So anyway, they get up to a big start, and all at once the gap started to close. They got to 15, then to 10, and here comes the big red machine. It's like it's down the stretch drive. It comes down to 7 games, comes down to 5 games. Now it gets down to 3 games. And they've won like 27 out of 29 games. And I mean, they're hot. Dodgers are struggling. Now they go into Dodger Stadium. And guess who's pitching the first game? Don Sutton. So the big machine going, it's a back and forth game. Then it comes down to the last inning. And it comes up with bases loaded, 2 outs. And guess who walks up there? Johnny Bench. He works the count to 3-2. He looked down there. He looked down there like this. And who was catching? Ferguson was catching. Joe Ferguson was catching. He looked down and he goes like this, and he throws him a 3-2 slow curveball on the outside corner, and Johnny took it, strike 3, the game's over with. They won the first game, then they won the second game, then they went and knocked them back up to 7 games, and the thing was over with. Well, after the game, the writers come in and say, "Holy mackerel, what a game, what a pitch, how did you come up with that?" He goes, hey, I've been dreaming about that kid, but I dreamed about that pitch when I was a little kid. And all I kept thinking is that someday I'm going to get in a big situation. And he said, when Joe Ferguson flipped down that curveball, and I'm sitting there going, awesome. I know what I have to do. I played that in mind. That's some pitch I could make with my eyes closed. And sure enough, he threw it and he made it in the big deal, and he comes up with a big play. And I sit there and they go, isn't that amazing? Those are competitors. It just doesn't happen. That's all they think about. Reggie Jackson, that's all he thinks about. 2 outs to the bottom of the 8th, that's my time. That's my time. You tell your players short like that, they love it. They love it. And, you can always tell. So competitors are hardcore. The second thing is they develop and master an aggressive hitting thought. When they walk up the home plate, it's a hitting thought. It's a hitting thought. They have a thought of intent. I'm going up there, and I've already watched the guy throw to the guys in front of me. I know what the situation is. I have an idea what his fastball is doing. And I got an idea. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to look for a ball early in the count, and I'm going to be ready for it. That's what I mean by an aggressive hitting thought. It's not a style or stuff like this. You're up there with the thought, I'm going to sit there. I know where his release point is, and I get in there, and my eyes and my attention, I'm paying attention to a certain zone. They call it intention. I'm looking for a ball right in that zone there, and boy, if that ball gets in there, I'm going to put a good swing on a good pitch. Okay? That's coaching. That's coaching. When you walk up there and you say, hey, you make sure your stance is right. Get your hands up and back. Make sure you got some tip here, get your eyes level, get it in balance, get your hands back, and sit there and keep it simple. Well, why? By the time he goes up there to hit, he's frozen. He has no idea what to do because you gave him too many thoughts. Rather go up there and say, hey, sit back and drive that ball right through the middle. That's a good hitting thought. And I think in training, when you go through the drills like we did today, you have to learn how to keep that ball up, that bat on plane. And what's really mean about that? You have to talk about techniques. You have to work about speed and stuff like that. But when the game starts, hey, let's face it. I put it in my notes here. Not in this thing here. I left it upstairs. But the truth of the matter, it's what you do in the game that counts, right? I see a lot of bats that have great swings that hit batting practice. And the game starts, they can't hit. I see a lot of great swings that just can't hit. So it's about being a hitter in the situation. It's all about developing a swing thought or the intent. What is it? Right here it says the intent. You're up there to hit the ball. And a good way of hitting the ball is swing the bat. You know what I mean? So we get up there, we get these guys, thinking so much about, now don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't chase that ball up, and don't chase the ball down. Don't chase the ball in, don't chase the ball away. Just don't. So he's thinking about don'ts, and next thing you know, he gets the ball right down the middle, cookie, we call it, he misses. So that's coaching, guys. When you see a ball club that comes out there on the team, I'm no reflection to other people. I don't watch things. But I used to watch the Chinese Taipei people come out there. And I'm telling you, they put you to sleep. They're better than a good drink. They have a martini. That's a joke, by the way. So anyway, when they come out on the field, and they have no energy, and they don't play with any energy. And our little guys from China, after 5 years, I got to know, I brought their personality out and everything like that. I used to sit there like this. Remember I told you the first day they all done like this? Put your hat on and look me in the eye. So then I got to the point I said, any questions? They'd like this. My interpreter's going on. Ask me a question. I want to know what's going on. Maybe, how about this? What time is dinner? Walked off. Next day I go back to roll, sitting there and go, any questions? What time is dinner? I know I had them. And we laughed, and we had a good time. God dang it. You got to share it. Vince Lombardi, what did Vince Lombardi say? I owe most everything to football, which spent a great part of my life in. It's about winners and losers. And it's about community. It's about to the winners, 100% elation, 100% fun. And whatever. To the losers, 100% resolution, whatever thing. It's a game that requires first, but also it requires from each person a contribution of spirit, and that spirit is the cohesiveness that brings 11 men together as a team. It's about doing it together. So that's what I always remember those words. So as much as you think you know, and much as you want to do, I want my players talking, and I want them to contribute, and I want this and that. So it's very important, and that's where energy. But I see teams coming out there. My players don't have any. My players don't have any energy. Well, I wonder where that comes from. Because by the time he says, my players don't, I'm sitting there going, you know what I mean? Come on, let's go. You have a little energy about that. Every great hitter hits off a fastball. That's a trait. One of the things I found out about my team last year, we went down and we broke our team down. We did everything right. But the one thing you can't do, if you can't hit a fastball, you can't play at a higher level. Now, I think you know that. And I might correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. You're Europe over here, but all the guys that you've seen have gone on to play at higher ball in the States and everything like that. They can command the fastball. Some of them have to sink it. Some of them have to ride it. Some know how to use the strike zone. We have that. Remember, I was showing it yesterday. I broke down every velocity. That 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Up here, even though it's 90-mile-an-hour fastball, up here it's what's called effective velocity. It picks up 2 miles per hour. If you move it inside on a guy, because he has to get the bat out a little bit, the effective velocity becomes like a 98 miles an hour fastball. So we start talking about how to use the strike zone and the fastball. The breaking balls, you got to learn how to tighten up a breaking ball. And in order to get a tightened up breaking ball, you got to start increasing what? Arm speed. So when you're throwing fastballs, then you got, here's a good Mariano Rivera. He had a great year this year. He's started throwing so many cutters, his velocity started dropping. And so what he did this last 2 years, he went back to the four-seamer to get his 2 or 3 miles an hour back, and then he threw his cutter. So it wasn't always about cutting inside all the time. Everyone saying, how's the guy do with one pitch? He actually went back to the four-seam fastball to extend that arm out to get a little more ride on the ball. Then he'd cut it in when he needed to. So, but the hitters, all good hitters, hit off the fastball. Every single one of them. And the higher you go up, the harder they're throwing. And nowadays, when you get into higher level baseball, when you get into Olympic grades, and you start talking about all these high programs, when we played Cuba, I'm telling you, man, the Cubans, they're really good. But they didn't give us any respect one time when we were playing in Italy. So we played them, they beat us like 12-1. All right. Our kids were scared to death. Because those kids are athletes. They're big kids, and they're strong, and they're a lot of good players. So the next time we played them, they kind of took us a little lightly. And they beat us 7-2. So we, closed the gap. And they were having a great. So now we get into championships in Holland. Do you remember that? You remember that game, Steve? Where they jumped out to a 6-run lead, and they were. And we'll talk about the first 2 innings. And they got that kid. What's his name? Third baseman. Oh man, God, I can't remember his name. I'll think his name in a minute. Best young hitter I've ever seen in Cuba. I think his name was second.
Goya.
Huh?
Goya.
No,
Second base.
He played second base.
Second base,
Goriel, but he played third in the. He played third when he played over in Holland. His name was Goriel. Hit 2 home runs off us. Oh, this kid. Oh, he's one of these kids. And he gets up there like this, and he goes. He gets up there and he just goes. They're up in here. They wrap that bat, and they just kind of just get ready to lean on it. And I mean, he leaned on some of us. So anyway, they go out and they get a 6-run lead, and they're just pounding us. And then something happened. They kind of just let go. And all at once, it was in the 4th inning, and it was one of those miracle innings. We top a ball at the third baseline. The guy walks the next guy. Blooper into for a base hit. Walks the next guy. Hit a ground ball to third, he hits the bag. Then a guy hits one off the wall. Now we're tied, 6-6. And you can see that manager over there for the Cubans, he was kind of over there. He's going on, what the? I can see him saying in Spanish, what are you guys doing? That's China. What's going on there? So they got a little hot. So they come back out there, they scored a run. We came back and scored another run. Now it's tied 7-7. And then they get the 8th run, we get the 8th run. And so then they start bringing these guys out of the bullpen. One guy threw the ball 98 miles an hour. That was just a slider. Our guys were going up there. It's like the old. My son is a broadcaster for the Kansas City Royals. So when he was first working with Minnesota, he had Tony Oliva. You ever heard that name, Tony Oliva? Well, he was a great hitter. And so in 1965, the Dodgers, beat the Twins in the World Series. So my son is a broadcaster, and so he's up there in Minnesota. So they always say that's one of the most. They were supposed to kick our butts, and they did. We won the World Series, and they won the first 2 games. We won the next 3. They won the 6th. We won the 7th. And so they asked Tony Oliva. They said, "Hey Tony, what happened in the 1965 World Series?" And Tony's from Cuba. And he goes, "Well, you see, in hitting, you see the ball and you hit the ball. When you face Sandy Koufax, I don't see the ball." That's a pretty good explanation. I don't see the ball. And that's exactly what happened. When those Cubans started coming out, throwing slider, they're going, "What the hell is that?" They said, "That's called a slider, boys. That's a big slider." But anyway, we lost 12-8, and that was a great game for us because we never gave up. And the fortunes of the games, those freaky innings happened. It was a freak inning, man. It was like, holy mackerel. And people to this day still talk about it. And we had everybody in the stands that was rooting for it. And the Cubans only gave up 1 run in the first 4 games that they played. And we got 6 runs off of it. That was really good. So after the game's over, the Cubans came over and they go, "Man, nice to go on." You know what I mean? And they a little more respect. But it's all done on the field, okay? You're going to build your respect on the field, the way you play the game, and the way you approach it. That's coaching. Know the basics of hitting. Remember we talked about staying over the ball, stay behind the ball, stay inside the ball, and through it. Those are the basics. And every basic comes flaws, and we have to correct those flaws. We have guys that open up. We have guys that dive. We have guys that, that fall back. We have guys that get on the front side. We have guys that carry their hands forward. We got all kinds of flaws that we have to correct. They're usually little flaws, and they're usually, at my level, they're usually little flaws that you just kind of correct as you go along. Great players play with rhythm and timing. When they get up there to hit, you watch some of the shots that we saw of Junior, we saw some of these other guys. They go up there and they keep the bat moving. They stand there like this, and Junior kind of he has a little rhythm. Some guys, they'll pick their leg up, and some guys, but they're always moving, and they never stop. So it's not like you start, stop, and start again. Now, sometimes I see coaches, they train in segments. Stride, stop, spook, stop, boom. It's got to flow. You got to have rhythm, it flows. If you start teaching in segments, and they play in segments, you're going to find out they're always going to be late. And when you're late, that means you're going to be out front on breaker points. Because you're going to start saying, I better get this thing moving a little sooner. And when I start getting moved sooner, then you're more receptive to that. So they play with rhythm and timing. Once the bat gets going, you keep it going, okay? And you go back before you go forward. I've never seen a golfer stand like this and go. Then they try to hit it. Then you take it back. Tiger Woods says, I take that thing back, and then I just set it into my slot, and I just swing as hard as I can. Grip it and rip it. And that's what he can do, because he's been doing it so many times that he knows exactly what he's doing, okay? So, rhythm and timing, play with rhythm. And most of the time when you're working with guys with mechanics, what will happen is they will become so thinking about the mechanics, they forget to do what? They forget to hit the ball. So one little drill that I do is I'll hold a ball like this, or you can do it off the tee, and when I toss the ball, or when they hit the ball, I want them to say hit right on contact. In other words, when that bat gets right there, I want to hear hit. And sure enough, guys will say hit back here. That's too what? Too early or too late? Hit! Is that too early or too late? Too late. So he said, maybe get closer. And they have to kind of, but you see it sometimes. And you tell the guys, I want you to say hit on contact. And suddenly you watch the rhythm and timing come back. It's a very simple drill. It's one that we use with the big leaguers. And it's so easy, you can work it with kids. You can do it. We used to take balls. We used to color them. We put one side red, one side blue, one side this. We'd toss. We'd hold it like this. We'd toss. Call the color out when you hit it. Blue. Red. Boom. Great drill to keep their mind on the ball and think about hitting it. Now, when they hit it, where do they have to hit it? In the net. In the middle of the net. That's a target. They have to call the color, and then they have to do is hit it. Okay? That's a very important. How are we doing at time?
About 20 more minutes. Can you last that long?
Oh, yeah. Even less. Trust your eyes. Great hitters really trust their eyes. They pick the ball up. You saw them starting yesterday as we see the pitcher still releasing the ball and all the guys. I asked Junior one day, I said, hey, Junior, when do you put your foot down? He said, I put my foot down when the pitcher puts his foot down. Really? I said, let's go take a look at film. And we looked at the film, he just the opposite. When the front leg came down from the pitcher, he picked his foot up. He didn't put it down. He didn't even know. So we start looking at it and start to realize on a timing element, when my hands are back, when that pitcher starts to pick when his foot comes down. Now, the point is this, you can't look at the foot and then expect to see the ball. We can do it on film because we can take every pitcher when they get to the point of release or when the foot comes down, we can look on cameras and say, like we do with and say, okay, now where's the ball? You always have to look here. But when that foot comes down, that ball is right about here every single time. When that foot comes down, it's just about right here. So that's where you look for it. And that's when I start picking up my leg. And I don't have to pick it up. All I have to do is pick my heel up. And like that. You got it? Okay? And when you're facing Nolan Ryan, you just go like this. Swing. And then you sit there and go, that sounded like a fastball. Didn't see it? It sounded like a fastball. That's what a guy throws hard. Anyway, So timing is important. Trust the eyes and trust your instincts. Okay? That's really good. Okay, the next one is know the strengths and weaknesses. Know your strength. Your good hitters will tell you. Adrian Gonzalez, I can't hit a fastball in. So why do I look for it? I can't hit a sinker down and away. I can't hit it. I'm not going to look for it early. You know what I mean? So why would I look for something I can't hit early in a count? And why would I swing at something I can't hit? Because I got 3 strikes. He's got to get me out 3 times. He's got to make 3 pitches on me. And so I'm sitting on a ball that I think I can hit hard, and I'm going to drive it. And, you know, I tell you what you watch. You watch good hitters, good swings. You go to the ballpark, and you watch these big hitters like Manny Ramirez. You watch guys like Hank Aaron. You watch guys like Frank Robinson. They go up and play, and they'll go up there, and they'll face these great pitchers, and they'll take 3 swings all day long. 2 doubles, and maybe a line drive somewhere. So one guy came to me and goes, I'll tell you how great Barry Bonds was. Barry Bonds was so good. He said, one series we played, they played against the Cardinals. They tried to walk him. He swung the bat 4 times in a 3-game series. So he had 12, 15 at-bats. He swung the bat 4 times, 3 home runs, and a line drive out. 3 times he swung the bat. And other than that, he was just, boom, I'm not ready for that pitch. And that's it, you know, boom. You see him off balance, walks. He never got out of his zone, okay? So he knew his strength, and he knew what he's looking for, and he learned how to lay off that pitch that you can't hit, okay? And that's what great hitters do. So when a guy starts sitting there and saying, hey, man, let's work on that ball down and away, you know, that's how you pitch God. You pitch him hard in, soft away. And you know what? He knows what's coming. He should. The bottom line, what I'm saying is, he doesn't swing at it until 2 strikes. That's why he's a good hitter. That's another joke. That's for another day. Always, good hitters are always get good hitting position. Be prepared. They're prepared. They warm up right. They also sit there and watch the pitcher. You can't believe the information that we give today. We give the information before they walk up in the big leagues. We got unlimited. You got so much source. I was going to bring it. I forgot it. The files and files of different pitchers and counts and stuff like that. The truth of the matter is, the best scouting report is when you watch the guy, how he pitches the guy in front of you, what's his velocity is, what his fastball is doing, is it sinking, riding, how's he going to get you out. If he gets you out the first at bat one way, you can bet on it, he's going to try to do it the second at bat. And the bottom line is hit your mind and do what you want to do, and that's what the great hitters did. They didn't have to go look at tons of film, which they do, but at the same time, that's it. So these are great traits of real good hitters. Now there's one more thing I wanted to talk about real quick here, and I'm going to get into a question and answer to find out what's on your mind. Okay? Okay, we call these coaching principles. I thought coaching principles, this is for you guys, always keep your goals ahead of the team. Keep the goals of the team ahead of your ego. There's a lot of coaches that are out there for what reason? They're feeding their ego. You know what I mean? They can't play, so they're going to go out there and teach these guys, you know, and it's going to be me. You know what I mean? It's not you, it's your talent. Don't ever forget that. Stress the basics, catch and throw. We talked about rhythm and timing, stay over the ball, but, you know, in every aspect of it, you got to stay with the basics. You know, every good player, when they start to struggle, every good team, we go back to the basics. Build a core philosophy. That's why we do all this stuff, and that's why we talk about statistic data and everything, and we present it to the whole team. We need to do that. So you got some selfish player that suddenly he doesn't believe in the system. He just exposed himself to the other team. Players, when you tell them to do something, it's always, the coach doesn't like me. The manager doesn't like me. But when the players see what they need to do to win, they would see the guys win, and you're out there on your own, and you're doing your own thing. That's called peer pressure. They'll respond to that. They'll respond to that. And when I present this to my team, and we present it, that's how it was presented to me. This is how we're going to play the game, and this is what you got to do. This is what it's all about. Suddenly, you get their attention. Okay, so you coaches, you know, that's why you build a core philosophy. Well, what are we trying to do here? You know, we're trying to be a good offensive ball club. Pete Rose got 4,000 some odd hits, and he'll tell you. He said, I've made 4,000 I don't know how many hits we have. I had 400, 200 some odd hits. That's a lot, man. That's like 20 some odd years of nothing but 200 hits. He goes, yeah, but you know what? I lead the major leagues in most hits, but also lead the major league at making the most outs. Well, it's true. I mean, he's been up, when you go up that many times, you're going to make some outs. And so he has helped out. So it's not all about it. But when you build a core philosophy, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is what's going to happen, then you get there. Then the team starts to function. And so when a guy messes up, then you don't have to tell him. The team will tell him. That's what I do, Coach. You know, you can sit there all day long and tell them what to do. Man, you don't like me. Well, you know, I don't know what's wrong. I do everything, you know, I just don't understand. I don't want to. Well, you got to get a hit, man. I used to sit there like this. I'd say in Seattle, when I was managing the Seattle Mariners, I'd sit like this and I look at that lineup card. I'm going, holy mackerel. Then all at once something would happen. This pin that was sitting on my desk would get up by itself and walk over and put down Ken Griffey Jr. in the third spot. And then would sit down and I go, wow. I said, now let me see if I can put some of those guys. I grabbed that pin and it felt like 1,000 pounds. I couldn't get it up. I couldn't spell the names of the guys I put in there. I couldn't. When a guy's going good, it's easy to put their name in the lineup. Isn't that easy? When a guy's going bad, it's tough to put their name in the lineup. You got to give those at bat. You know what I'm talking about. You get a good hitter and say, hey man, here's your name. Boy, I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to spell it. I put it right there. You blow it in like this. And some guy over there, you look at him, he hadn't got a hit in 2 months. And you sit there going, okay. What was your name again? Huh?
What he's doing here.
That's right. Do something, man. You got to do something once in a while. I remember when I was over in Chicago, we had this clubhouse guy. We had a guy by the name of George Bell. He was an MVP, and he's a Dominican guy. And I like George. He gets flat hit, but he's a terrible defensive player. So every time he'd drive in a run, he'd give up a run. And every time he'd hit a two-runner, he'd give up two runs. So he was what we call a break-even guy. And it was all said and even. He'd give up X amount of runs, and he had to hit 300. He had to hit 30 home runs. He had to drive in 100 RBIs just to break even. I mean, he was terrible. And so, but he wanted to be an outfielder. And he belonged to DH in the American League. And so Yost Kawaddle, the old guy there, you know, and he'd been there forever, and and so a fly ball would go out to George, and George would get under it, surround it, and everything like this, and he'd catch it, and he'd come walking back to the dugout and go, nice play, George, for you. So we had this guy named Dwight Smith. Dwight Smith, man, I'm good for a club, man. I keep the club loose. I keep them relaxed. And Yost goes, that's not enough. But I could sing the national anthem. I could walk through and sing for that. It's not enough. You got to do something once in a while. And so, these guys, they kind of evaluate themselves a little different than we do as managers. We're trying to win a game. And that's the difference. You guys heard of Tony La Russa? We all heard of that. The Oakland, he's with the Cardinals now. He's got he's on his way to become the winningest manager in Major League history. The one thing about Tony, he's never compromised on the game and what the game was played. I worked for him for 4 years. I competed against him as a manager, and I see him today, and he never compromises with his players. He wants them to come out every day, work hard to win. Now, if you make mistakes and you don't play good, that's okay. He does, you're working hard. But you come out here and you have that attitude, and we call it you got entitlement. I'm entitled to be here. And we do a lot of that in China. We get a lot of these guys that, they're entitled to play. Why? Well, they've been here in the program longer than anybody else. It's not good enough. You got to do some things. And that's why Tony La Russa is good. Nobody's entitled to anything. You got to go out there every day and grind it out. So, you got to go out there and play. So never coach style out of a player. Remember that. Never coach style out of a player. Every player thinks he has a style. And so why mess with him? Just do the drills that I have for you and do them correctly. And do them over and over and over again. And then when you take it into the game, you're going to see results. Okay? Do them correctly. Do we have a batting tee inside there? Huh?
No, they're all gone.
They're all gone. Oh, shoot, I want to show you. kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. Never coach caution into a player. Never coach caution into a player. Never tell him what he's doing wrong. Hey, man, you're popping up. Let's get the ball a little lower. Let's get a little lower. Get the ball lower. Hey, you're popping up. The guy goes, no kid. Pretty sharp, coach. You know what I mean? You get to put your glasses on. Everybody else knows it too. I know what I'm doing. Guy strikes out. You struck out. No kid. I did. You know? I mean, don't be a fool. You know, to say, hey, come on, let's get over the ball. You can do it. Get over the ball. You're close. Keep battling. Use words like you're close. Keep battling. You're fine. But you start talking, negative, which is caution. You can't do this. You can't do that. Then what you do is you take that aggressiveness away. That's a coaching principle. And I see a lot of coaches, boy, they know the game. They know the techniques. They know how to do it. But for some reason, they always get beat because they're always telling the things they can't do. And that's exactly what you got to do. Be organized. When you go out there on the field, have everything set up. We're going to warm up. We're going to play catch. We're going to go through infield play. We're going to have guys over here, guys go there. You have your organization. It's like we're going to work on this. We're going to work on that. Then we're going to bring them all together. We're going to work on cutoff and relays. We're going to work on rundowns. We're going to work on pickoffs. We're going to do it all. You all go, and then bam. When that's over with, okay, get ready for batting practice. Group 1 will be over here. Group 2 will be over here. Group 3 is going to be up here. And then we get going. See how you organize? Because organization brings a sense of professionalism to the player. When you're organized, hey, this guy knows his stuff. And remember, the most important thing is that we want to keep a plan. Let me tell you a story. I don't mind. Did I tell you about those kids that we brought into our program down in Scottsdale, Arizona? We did high-speed training. Did I tell you about that last night? We had a real talented little league team, and they were really good. And they had this coach came to me and he goes, "Listen, we want to go through your speed program. We had called the acceleration program. We have treadmills that go 25 miles an hour, and they have different elevations. And you start them slow, we go faster, and then we have all kinds of plyometrics and everything. It's kind of a high-end, teach kids how to be good athletes type stuff." So we took the team and we brought them in. The treadmills are really demanding. They get real bad. Some of those kids get sick, and they throw up and everything. But this is part of the program. But they wanted to go through it. I tried to talk them out of it. Nope, we're going to go through it. So, okay, bring them on in. They brought the entire team in. They went through the entire program. They went out and played, and they came one game away, basically one inning away from going on to the Little League World Series. So that was really good. They had a good year, and everybody was happy and everything like that. So the next year, they come back, and the guy comes to me and goes, "We're not going to do the program." And I said, "Why?" He says, "You know how many, we didn't have one kid sign up for the acceleration program. Not one." And I said, "No, what was the reason?" He says, "Because they just want to play ball. They just want to get out there and have fun. They want to take batting practice. They want to take ground balls. They want to throw. They want to do all that." And that was too much demand. There was not fun for them. Remember we talked about having fun? So they worked on, they just said they went out and played, and they went out, and sure enough, they got to the next level the next year because they had fun. So, you gotta remember that, they're kids. That's what they are. And they're trying to get better. So be organized and do the things. These coaches here have really shown great programs as far as medicine balls and conditioning and everything like that. That's all great stuff. Do it at the end. Do it there. But the bottom line, make sure you throw the ball and you hit the ball. If they say hit the ball, and you run the ball after you hit the ball, and keep it simple and have fun for them. They love it. So be organized. Keep it simple. Simplicity is the genius of great athletes. Develop a great success routine. We talk about that all the time. You come to the ballpark, you prepare properly, you got your routine down, you get ready, boom, boom, you go on the field, and then suddenly everything starts to fall down. And another thing is, bring an attitude. Hey, you know what? When Manny Ramirez walks into that batter's box, he brings an attitude. I've known Manny for a long time, and when he gets in that batter's box, okay, big guy, show me what you got. Here we go. And I mean, that's the kind of guy. They walk into that batter's box with an attitude. Barry Bonds brought an attitude. Hank Aaron brought an attitude. Willie Mays brought an attitude. except when he faced Don Drysdale. When Don Drysdale used to throw from out here to about 95, he used to bust it in on him all the time. And I'll never forget it. We were playing Dodger Stadium, and Willie Mays, he just kind of come up there. You know, this guy's one of the greatest players ever played the game. And but Don Drysdale, I mean, he pounded a bit and drilled him in the back, and he goes, God damn, man, I hate to face this guy. So he come in there that one day, man, he gets in there, and he's sitting in the batter's box, he digs a hole like this, and he looks out and he sees Drysdale. He says, oh, wait a minute. He backs out, covers the hole back up. Yeah, let's step back out. So let me start over again. Okay, here we go. Well, Drysdale's head on a bow, watching this guy dig in. He goes, man, this guy's going down. So he had an attitude, and you had an attitude. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's times that well, that's what makes great competition. I mean, you get great players competing about great players. It's great times of the game. Be there for them. Don't hold a 5 o'clock practice and everybody's there and you show up at 5:20. You're a coach. If you have a 5 o'clock practice, you should be there at 4:30, get set up and be ready. When guys are late, that's not good. That's not coaching. You want them to be on time, you be on time. And I've done it. I've seen guys come in. Davey Johnson, when he was a manager for the Dodgers. He didn't want to be there. Davey Johnson loved to play golf. And Davey Johnson would show up 20 minutes before the game. The coach was getting everything in there. And he'd walk in the clubhouse with his golf shoes on. You know, and that's pretty, I mean, he did. I like Davey a lot. And they told me stories about him showing up about 20 minutes before the game. He's got his golf shoes on and his golf thing. And he's got his hat on. What are we playing today? We're playing the Cincinnati Reds. Oh, yeah, really? And so another thing is enjoy your players. Okay. I want to thank you very much. I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to eat. But any quick questions? Any quick questions from anybody?
What's for dinner?
Huh? What for dinner? There you go. You're on my team, buddy. I'll tell you.